Me rig up my other camera.
Can you pull wide now? You see the park. If I don't see the park, I don't know how to switch. I need to see the park, I need to know what's going on. Okay, just listen to the man, just go to the man, just go, let's go. Where we go now?
No, but hold on, Jeremy, go talk to Jeremy, go just tell you come on. Well, I gotta get some tea. Let me get some. Yeah.
But the others, you don't really have the rivals.
We're all moving on together. So we must plan collectively for a brighter day. No one knows what's in store for the future.
Officers, warrant and non-commissioned officers, commanding guards, outwards, turn! Take post in front of the guards, quick march! Officers, inward, turn! To your guards, slow, march! Officers, halt! Outwards, turn! Wait! Sergeant Ace! Wait! Wait, shot! Guards! Soldier! General salute! Present! Martin, the colors!
Good morning to you, Saint Vincent, the Grenadines, the rest of the Eastern Caribbean, wherever you are listening and viewing us this morning of this live coverage of the annual Independence Day military parade taking place at the Victoria Park. For those who are joining by way of the television, you've been seeing some visuals of the parade moving from uptown all the way down to the Victoria Park, where we're having some very bright sunny conditions this morning for parade, despite the forecast, but we're grateful that we can have good enough weather for the parade, and all of these who've been preparing for weeks for this occasion.
Yes.
Joining me on the broadcast this morning, I have with me Superintendent of Police Junior Simmons, and he is no stranger to our broadcast. He's been on our broadcast both on BC3 and NBC Radio and other platforms before, and we welcome him to our broadcast. And immediately to my right is ASP Tekla Andrews, who is one of our newer inductees to the world of broadcast, television, and radio. Ladies, gentlemen, welcome, and it's good to have you as we get ready for parade today.
Thank you very much, Colvin, and I must say a pleasant good morning to Vincentians here in the homeland and those in the diaspora. I want to wish you a happy 44th anniversary of independence. It is indeed a beautiful day in Saint Vincent and the Grenadines. It's a day when Vincentians really display our pride, our gratitude to God for His blessings and mercies. And we're looking forward today, Colville, to a wonderful parade.
Indeed.
Good morning, Saint Vincent and the Grenadines. It's a pleasure to be here this morning on this forum just to give you my feedback on what is happening here on Independence Day in Saint Vincent and the Grenadines. It is a beautiful day, and we thank God for His blessings upon us as we celebrate our 44th Independence Parade.
All right, and in everything we must give thanks, and this morning we're grateful that we can all be here for another Independence Parade. 44 years, and we're on the road to 45. Next year it will be a grand 45th anniversary.
Indeed.
And this is all part of the preparations for that. Speaking of preparations, Simmons, we know that this is not just something that you wake up when you come to the park or you go to your various points of organizing and you march down to the park and that's it. There's a level of preparation that has to be done, several weeks preparing for today. Tell us a bit about that.
Right, you're correct, Colvin. The preparation for our National Independence Parade started in early September. What would happen is that the country police would first appoint a parade commander and an adjutant to command the parade, and then police officers from different units would be detailed to form the various guards on parade. So this morning we have 7 armed guards on parade and 9 unarmed guards. But the rehearsals started in earnest first week of September, and we had rehearsals twice weekly, every Tuesday and Thursday. So what the public will be seeing here today, the display that they will be seeing, is a lot of hard work was put in prior to today, and the rehearsals culminated last Wednesday when we had the dress rehearsal for today's event. Last Wednesday we had a run through of everything that will happen on the parade today. So the public is in for quite a display this morning by the various troops on parade.
Yes, and they'll be hearing the parade commander as well during the course of the parade, not just on your television and your radio, but also at the park, as the parade commander is mic'd up this morning, and the parade commander, Superintendent of Police, Mr. Benzil Samuel, the Adjutant Assistant Superintendent of Police, Mr. Adrian Francois, and of course the band. What would we do without the band for parade? The bandmaster this morning, Inspector of Police, Mr. Vaughn Miller. And bright and sunny conditions, reporting that from Victoria Park this morning. We anticipated the rain was forecast, but we got the opposite this morning, but that's the nature of weather, changes every second. And brilliant sunshine allows for us to give you excellent visuals as well. So for those who are not able to be here physically, they can enjoy some great visuals from the parade grounds this morning. In terms of the support, we also have the Red Cross as usual providing support.
Yes. The Red Cross is always on standby, because as you were, Colvin and SP Andrews and our listeners and viewers, on parades like these, sometimes persons would fell ill. So it is important that the Red Cross is there to assist, to render assistance to those persons.
And for the benefit of those who are listening and not necessarily viewing, the arrival of the Prime Minister of Saint Vincent and the Grenadines, the Honorable Dr. Ralph E. Gonzalez, to the parade this morning, and he's been accompanied by the Commissioner of Police Acting, Mr. Enville Williams, who is doing his very first parade today as Commissioner of Police Acting, and this year. Some applause as the Prime Minister arrives and being greeted by those who are here to witness this spectacle this morning.
Yes, and the Commissioner is no stranger to parades, Colvin. He himself, has commanded Independence Parade before, and several other parades.
And the Prime Minister will now receive a salute.
Yes.
And he's flanked by the Commissioner Acting.
Yes, he's receiving the General Salute.
The General Salute.
Yes, the General Salute.
And about 10 or so minutes ago, we had the arrival of the Commissioner himself to the parade grounds.
Correct. Yes.
As we see the lovely uniforms, all spanking clean, prepared for this morning. It's always a pride of every individual to look their very best for parade.
Yes, and the parade ground is very pristine, Galville. It is beautiful out there.
And I think the rain has added to that, the quality of the grass that we're on this morning. Of course, there was some rain overnight, so you can see the evidence of a few muddy patches, but nothing to take away from the general aesthetics of the parade ground, and a good environment for parade to happen this morning.
Yes, and the rain that fell would well, even prior to today, all in the week and before, it would make the earth a bit cooler for the guys in parade this morning. So it shouldn't be too hot right now. But we pray that everyone would really remain alert throughout the parade.
Yes. The cooler it is, the better for the persons on the parade.
Yes. And what about your experience, ASP Andrews? I mean, you've been in parade, you've been on parade, I suspect, for quite a few times. Yes. What has that been like for you when you first joined the force, and then later when you moved up the ranks and you had to participate and prepare for parade?
It's actually an intense feeling, because when you're on parade, you want to perform to the best of your ability, because all eyes are on you when you are on that parade. On occasions when I was the adjutant for the Independence Parade, it was a very good experience, but it has an intense feeling. Your heart beats miles per hour. But it's a good experience to represent the police force in this form. Yes.
As we move a few minutes after 8 o'clock, and parade is fully underway with the arrival of the Honorable Prime Minister.
Yes.
And this morning we are witnessing the presence of 7 armed guards and 9 unarmed guards on parade. And as mentioned, we have the Red Cross providing support. I see the Governor General of Saint Vincent and the Grenadines, as expected, and according to our timing, Her Excellency Dame Susan Duggan, GCMG OBE, arriving here at the Victoria Park and being greeted by the Honorable Prime Minister. And she would now receive her salute as well.
Yes, Colvin, Her Excellency would receive the Royal Salute.
Royal Salute.
Yes, she would stand on the dais, and the parade commander would report to her and invite her to inspect the guard.
And she's been accompanied by the ADC.
Yes, Major Philip Cambridge.
Philip Cambridge.
Yes, he is Her Excellency's aide-de-camp. So she's now alighting the dais and will be taking the salute.
And as Her Excellency receives her salute, we welcome our radio audience joining in on this live broadcast on NBC Radio 107.5, 90.7 FM, in addition to our audience on VC3 Television, Channel 114, and those who are viewing on the various platforms on Facebook and YouTube of VC3, the Agency for Public Information, and the National Broadcasting Corporation. I believe we're having the national anthem at this time.
Yes, correct.
So we're in our studio here at VC3, so we have to just make sure that we keep an eye on the monitors as the various activities are happening, and we're completing the process of the royal salute to Her Excellency the Governor General of Saint Vincent and the Grenadines. I see the parade commander move forward.
The parade commander, Superintendent Samuel, he is reporting the condition of the parade to Her Excellency, the Governor General, and he would also invite her to inspect the parade. So the inspection party would include Her Excellency, the Governor General, the parade commander, Commissioner of Police, Mr. Williams, and Her Excellency's aide-de-camp, Major Payton. And they would be inspecting all of the guards on parade. Guard number 1, that's the all-male police guard, and the guard commander is Assistant Superintendent of Police Mr. Junior Nero, and his subaltern is Inspector of Police Mr. Bright Rogers. So that's the all-male guard on parade this morning, the first guard that Her Excellency would inspect.
So we see the commencement of the inspection of the guards. And Her Excellency moving quite swiftly along, as expected. The inspection process on parade is not generally something that would take a very long time.
No.
And the Governor General is presently inspecting guard number 2. That's the all-female police guard. The guard commander is Assistant Superintendent Marlon Coffey and Subaltern Inspector Bernadette Matthews.
As Her Excellency moves on to guard number 3 quickly, the Special Services Unit, Guard Commander Assistant Superintendent of Police Mr. Maxian Richardson, and the Subaltern Inspector of Police Acting Mr. Ken Samuel.
And guard number 4 is the SB Coast Guard Service. The commander is Lieutenant Frankie Joseph. Sorry, Frankie John, my apologies. And his subaltern is Sub-Lieutenant Godwin Charles. And the Coast Guard, they always have a very large contingent on parade called within SB Andrews. They always have a very large contingent.
And we just had the guard number 5, the SVG Auxiliary Police Force, Lieutenant Ruben Johnson, Guard Commander, Subaltern, Second Lieutenant Theophilus Franklin, quickly moving along, and quite quickly Guard number 6, SVG Cadet Force, the Mixed Guard, with Guard Commander, Second Lieutenant Sawandi Ralph, and Subaltern Jade Kato. Guard number 7, SVG Cadet Force Marine Unit, Second Lieutenant Laurel Stair as Guard Commander there, and Subaltern Second Lieutenant Alex Davis.
Yes. So Her Excellency is moving along quite quickly, and she's now inspecting the rear ranks, the rear ranks of the several guards. And as she walks along, she's chatting briefly with some of the officers on parade. It is a solemn duty for Her Excellency. She is the Commander-in-Chief of our armed forces. So she is the main principal on parade today, followed by the Honorable Prime Minister and the Commissioner of Police acting.
So we are moving swiftly along for the completion of the inspection of the guards. Also on parade this morning, the color party, we saw them earlier. I think we began right after they came onto the parade ground. And the drum majors on duty today is Sergeant Amora Thomas of the Royal Saint Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force, and Warrant Officer 2 Osborne Williams of the SVG Cadet Force.
And later on the parade, we'll see some wonderful display from these two officers, the
We look
drum
forward to
majors.
those.
Yes,
And it's something that we've gone, we've come to look forward to, the
Yeah.
special display by the drum majors
Yes,
Yeah.
and the other officers of the police force.
correct, yeah.
And let's see what they have in store this year.
Yeah.
Maybe you might know what that is about, but you'll leave it for the surprise element.
Indeed, yes, indeed, yes, yes. But what I'll say is that the police band will be doing a special display this morning.
Ah,
Yes. So there's something in store for the viewing audience.
I think everyone looks forward to see the performance of the police band
Yes,
on the Independence Parade.
yes. As I often say, that the police band, our police band is the best band in the region.
In the region.
and that's not the
Royal
first time I'm hearing that
Yeah.
statement.
So the police force band, which
Yes.
is being led by Bandmaster Spectator Miller.
And see members of the cadet force also part of the,
yes.
but they'll separate during the course of the parade and then join for a
Yes,
single
so-
unit after.
Yes, so they merge. The cadet force band and the police force band, they merge for this occasion.
And the parade commander is accompanying Her Excellency quickly along to the rear part of the parade.
Yes.
We see the pathfinders.
The unarmed guards. Yes, so Her Excellency is now inspecting the unarmed guards. So we have in parade this morning we have the pathfinders, nurses, Red Cross, the scouts,
Yes.
Girl Guides. We also have His Majesty's Prison on parade as well. And there we can see the police youth clubs.
Youth clubs, yes.
Yes, under the leadership of Sergeant Stephen Billy, National Coordinator for youth clubs. So they're also on parade this morning.
And
There's also another contingent of the cadet force as part of the unarmed guards.
yes. And the completion of the inspection. And I think our fellow colleagues in the media had to do a bit of running this morning
Yes,
to keep up, our photographers and videographers.
yes.
It was quite an intense one to follow Her Excellency
it
and
was-
the
It was very
quick, very
quick.
swift.
Yes, very swift.
and certainly an exercise for the morning for our fellow media colleagues as well. But we're glad that you are with us this morning, wherever you are, viewing, listening, on your television screens, on radio, online, mobile device, all the platforms that you can see or hear us. We are grateful that you are with us, and we're happy to report that parade is on this morning
Yes.
at the Victoria Park, and we look forward to the display that will be coming up, and of course the presentation by the Honourable Prime Minister, which is
Yes, that's
highly
the-
anticipated as part of this.
Yes, that's
event
the,
today.
That's one of the highlights
That's
of,
the
Highlights.
yes.
of this parade. And for our 44th anniversary of independence, we are celebrating under our theme, our resilience, our fortitude, our identity on the road to 45. So while we're celebrating the 44th, we are thinking about the 45th,
Yes.
because that would be a very important milestone for Saint Vincent and Grenadines. So we have started putting plans in place for our 45th anniversary of independence.
That will be a special occasion.
Yes, indeed.
And of course, we will enjoy a few minutes of our police band, and they love the music as well. Of course, we know our listeners and viewers would want to hear what the band has on offer, particularly when it's time for the quick march
Yes, yes.
around the Victoria Park parameters.
Yes.
Her Excellency returning to the salute and days.
So the parade commander is now thanking Her Excellency for inspecting the parade and is seeking a permission to carry on with the parade. So the next item on the agenda would be the salute to the nation. That would be the next big item. And during that segment, Her Excellency will take the salute, and there'll also be a 21-gun salute as well.
Sometimes that's a bit of a startle if you're not expected. I remember
Yes,
On occasions you would hear some quick screams when folks
yes,
didn't quite expect them to go off at that point.
correct.
Because it's something that happens at every parade, but you're just not prepared for the moment that it happens.
Yes, that is true. Because some people just don't know when it's about to happen. So, they're startled.
Yes.
When it happens.
But then they realize what's happening. And
Right.
Almighty God.
But in terms of the gun salute, there's always a backup plan when it comes to that, just in case one method fails.
Right. Because if the mechanism that we normally use to do the gun salute, if that
we have the opening prayer this
On this
time.
occasion, we officially give thanks for 44 years of political independence of Saint Vincent and the Grenadines. We joyfully join in adoring your holy name, for it is in you that we live and move and have our being. Forgive us, merciful God, for the ways that we have often allowed selfish motives, prejudices, doubts, and fail to encourage national disunity, hinder objectivity, and stall creative initiatives. Forgive us, Lord God, for the increase in crime and violence, causing many to be hurt, as well as to have been killed. Among our residents, Lord God, we pray that you will have mercy upon us and forgive us of our sins and cleanse us from all unrighteousness. We give you hearty thanks, loving and gracious God, for this important occasion in the national development cycle of our country, Saint Vincent and the Grenadines. We thank you, God, for sparing our lives, for protection from natural disasters over the past 12 months, for our democratic system of governance, and for the many and varied blessings we experienced during the past year. We petition your rich blessings upon our beautiful country. We lift up before you our Governor General, Susan Dugan, our Prime Minister, Rav Gonzalez, and his cabinet of ministers, the leader of the opposition, Godwin Friday, and other parliamentarians. Grant all of our leaders, O God, both political and civic. Grant them wisdom, courage, and an attitude of excellence, and our people good health, prosperity, peacefulness, and a longing for unity. Bless all of us, O God, and inspire us to live in unity. We offer this prayer in the wonderful name of Jesus Christ, our Lord and our Savior. Amen.
The prayer for the nation by a member of the SVG Christian Council and person of Reverend Philbert Sinclair Delaney of the Methodist Church of Saint Vincent and the Grenadines.
So we're going to have the trooping of the guards, or the band, sorry. So the police force band and the cadet force band, they would march from east to west of Victoria Park in slow time. So they're marching in slow time from the east to the west of Victoria Park, and they would march back from the west to the east, but that time would be in quick march, in quick time. So there we can see the drum majors, Sergeant Thomas and Warrant Officer 2 Osborne Williams. They're displaying, doing their display as the band does the trooping under the leadership of Inspector Vaughn Miller.
And as the band moves closer to our microphones, you'll be able to better hear the rendition as they get closer to the center of the parade ground.
So we are seeing some precision there, okay, and we had a slight mishap there by one of the drum majors, but he quickly
Good
recovered.
recovery. Good recovery.
He quickly recovered, just in time for the ice right.
And you mentioned earlier, no matter how many times you do this in preparation for the day,
Yes.
there's always the margin for something to not go in your favor on that day.
As Mr. Murphy said, you know, what can go wrong will go wrong.
Will go wrong.
Yes.
Yes.
That's an excellent recovery, nevertheless.
Yes.
As the band moves almost to the center of the parade ground now, immediately in front of Her Excellency. Brilliant sunshine at the Victoria Park, we're happy to report, and lovely lighting for our visuals.
And so far we haven't seen any of the troops, you know, falling. You know, everyone seemed to be alert.
I hope that they're hydrated as well.
Yes, yes, we're very thankful for that. But nonetheless, the Red Cross would be on the lookout for persons who are showing signs of not feeling well or dehydration. Yes.
And it's important under the circumstances that they were prepared physically for today's event by ensuring that
That's
they
right.
had at least something warm on the stomach, as we would
Correct,
say, or
yes.
something hot on the stomach
Yes.
to ensure that they can physically withstand the rigors of being at a particular point for an extended period, and the
Yes.
heat as well.
Yes, they will need the energy to
Yes.
to remain out there in parade.
That's what we always encourage our officers to ensure that they do something on the stomach.
Yes. And we see some spectators now walking the gate there, that's just to the side of the band, where the band is positioned at this time.
Yes, yes, on the western side. So they're preparing to march back to the eastern side. This time it will be in pit time.
And in a few seconds, we will see that quick progression from west to east this time.
Yes,
Yes.
correct.
And when you're looking on the screen, it's sort of, sometimes it's to determine your your particular position when it comes to your sense of direction. But the quick march now. I'm trying to determine the time that is being played.
I cannot pick it up Colvin, but you're in for a treat.
Oh, I think I know what it is. It's a time on track. Madness.
Okay, so
Yes, that's exactly the sound that is being played.
the combined band will soon be doing some displays. Nice displays
Alright,
to
guys.
entertain the audience.
Guys on visuals, prepare for this.
Yes. So we're coming to you live from the studio of BC3. Today we're having a joint broadcast between NBC Radio and BC3. Bringing to you live the military parade at Victoria Park in commemoration of Saint Vincent and Grenadines' 44th anniversary of independence.
Yes. And it's something worth celebrating. 44 years and counting, soon to be 45. That's the road we're on. And we look forward to the celebrations next year, which will be grand, I suppose.
Indeed.
45.
Indeed.
And definitely recognize that track from Fireman Hooper. Madness.
Madness. Well,
I actually had no idea.
Colvin, you're more inclined than me.
Well,
when it comes
I was
to these
hinted by the
tracks.
horns. I was hinted by the horns, actually.
I wasn't aware of all.
I think it was the horns was the one that were the ones that gave it away when they approached the microphones and we were able to hear them clearly.
So, Officer Rodney, a female officer in the band, so she's done fun. with the baby.
So the performance has been completed as expected. When we have parade, there's always something special in store.
Yes.
And this morning was certainly no different. Something different this morning. And much to the appreciation of those who are viewing in person. Quite a gathering of Vincentians, in the
Yes.
blue, gold, and green, and a lovely shot. Drone shot
That's a
complements
beautiful drone
VC3,
shot,
showing both decks of that stand outfitted in all of the colors of Saint Vincent and the Grenadines flag, and likewise the ground on the parade.
We have a celebration. Said earlier on, there are 7 armed guards in parade this morning. An all-male police guard, all-female police guard, and the number 3 guard is the Special Services Unit. The number 4 armed guard is the SVG Coast Guard Service. Number 5 is the SVG Auxiliary Police Force. Number 6 guard, the SVG Cadet Force Mixed Guard, and the number 7 is again the SVG Cadet Force Marine Unit. So we have now the march past in slow time. This is where all of the guards would march and pay homage, salute Her Excellency, the Governor General, and His Right. And
Beautiful shot of the parade ground from above as you see the band rearranging and moving in place to accommodate the other guards that will be marching around the parade ground. So they'll be at center ground. SVG Coast Guard, Guard
Number 4.
four.
So there we see the number 1 guard is doing the eyes right. And saluting Her Excellency, the Governor General. The Guard Commander in front of the guard, Superintendent Dr. Summer. Yes.
Low.
See, we lost some of the sunlight momentarily. Hopefully that's not an indication of an impending shower or two, at least not at this point. Let's hope not. We'd love to see the parade complete. At least
There we
with
can
the
see
clouds
the-
around but not the rain.
Yes. It's a guard. Yeah, doing the eyes right. Marching smartly along. And this guard is under the command of Acting Assistant Superintendent Maxine Richardson. So subaltern is Acting Inspector Ken Samuel.
And you see the SVG Coast Guard, the guard number 4 now doing the eyes right.
Yes.
Command. Let's give them a few seconds ago for them to adjust that.
And this guy is under the command of Lieutenant Frankie John, and his subaltern is Sub-Lieutenant Godwin Charles.
I always like the outfit for the SVG Coast Guard. Yeah.
Christine White.
Yes, Christine White.
Always shimmering, yeah, always very radiant.
Yes. And the blue sash really enhances it.
Yeah.
Yes, so yeah, blue and white.
And you see the color party approaching our last shot for those who are viewing. Yes, the color party just moving past the saluting base, and there's a bit of a strong breeze, I suspect, now as we are seeing the flags being fluttering just a little bit.
Yes. So the color party is made up of Acting Second Lieutenant Jamari John, Acting Second Lieutenant Nicolette Cyrus, the Controlling Warrant Officer 2, Mason Stevenson. The escorts are Sergeant Shaquan Sutherland, Sergeant Winston Gordon, and Sergeant Jamelia Roberts. So that's the makeup of the color party parade this morning.
And as we see the Marine unit of the SVG Cadet Force approach the saluting base, is it the armed guards that just passed by the saluting base?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes. That's the armed guard.
And the cadet force has 2 armed guards on parade this morning
Correct.
and 1 unarmed.
So there's a mixed guard and also the Marine unit.
Yes. And quite different shot we just saw there with the evident cranes in the back, working on the modern port of Kingstown. It's noted in the back of that shot. Not something you normally see in the skyline. Certainly not last year when we did parade. We had a shot of the preparations being made for the commencement of construction there, and the seafront works. That has since progressed, and I'm sure later on when our drone goes back up, we'll be able to see the progression
Much more good.
as the parade moves uptown. Preparations are being made for the quick time, I believe, and as the Coast Guard falls in line quickly behind the colour party and the auxiliary police force.
Make it break time!
So the command was given, break into quick time. So
Quick!
soon.
March!
So the parade is now marching in quick time. Then the march past in quick time. And we march around the square again. This time giving the eyes right to Her Excellency in quick time.
Can you recognize the track that is being rendered by the police band? Let's see how. You've been on the parade grounds before, so it must be familiar. But of course, we're not able to hear fully. And I believe that is rain, if I am not mistaken. We saw the dark clouds earlier, and seeing some very large drops showing up on our visuals.
Well, we call it blessings.
Blessings, cooling down the parade ground. We'll have less casualties
right now.
I hope.
And I believe the troops would welcome it, once it is not so heavy. It would.
Have you ever been on parade in those pouring rain?
Yes.
And what was that like? I mean, that must have been a different experience compared to the blazing heat. The
Yes,
sun.
it is. But if it's too heavy, at some point you would feel cold. But it helps to cool you down a bit. So no doubt the troops will welcome it once it's not that heavy. But it's something that you have to expect on parade, that rain will come at some point.
Especially Independence Day.
Yes.
Especially on most occasions, the rain falls. I'm proud of ASC Acting Coffee during the parade for many years. And she's doing well as the guard commander of the Alpine Guard. So I must give kudos to her.
This is a heavy shower.
Yes,
This is a very heavy shower.
It's pouring down now.
It's pouring, and you can
Pouring
see
down
the
now.
expression on some of the officers' faces that they didn't quite expect the downpour. They were thinking just a sprinkle would be fine.
Just
Yeah.
a sprinkle will be
But
fine.
this is clearly a very, very, very heavy shower.
Yes.
And let's hope that, of course, after being in the heat from the early hours of this morning, we have everyone
Yes, they're really pouring
recovered.
down now. It's really pouring down now.
And not that we didn't expect it, we were hoping that it would hold at least for the parade. The forecast from yesterday called for this morning to be quite wet. We started out in some fairly okay conditions, a few clouds, but some good sunshine, and that has very quickly changed to a very heavy downpour, almost a whiteout if you're looking on our cameras at this point. And for some of the unarmed guards, I suspect this is probably their first experience of being on parade where there's a very heavy downpour and
Yes,
having to
that is
continue
true.
as if it's not happening.
Yeah.
You have to maintain composure even if it's raining that heavy.
And particularly the case where Her Excellency is standing there and you have to march past Her Excellency.
Yeah.
remain in formation and respecting the protocols while we are trying to not drown if it's if it's raining very heavily. I see some of the individuals just wiping their faces quickly, as especially it would be difficult for those who are wearing
So there we can see
the glasses, etc.
So you can see the girl guides. They're marching smartly.
Very
Of course.
slowly, yes.
Yes. With the rain pouring on heavy there.
It is heavy. It is heavy, and
It seems like they're enjoying it.
And I was just going to say that.
it appears that they are.
Yes.
Yes.
It appears that they are. Well, at least some of them. The Pathfinders now approaching in quick march to the saluting base, where Her Excellency is standing and bringing up the rear end of the quick march for this parade as showers continue.
And the Pathfinders, they have been doing very well on parade over the years. As part of the unarmed guards, they've been doing very well in parade.
And the forecast from this morning from the Met Office called for some expected showers this morning. And I think this is not deviating in any way. It's a cloudy and breezy at times with periods of rain, scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. And we are cognizant that we are under flood watch until Sunday. So with that in mind, it's not unexpected. We were hoping that it wouldn't come to this.
So the troops, they're preparing for the address by the Honourable Prime Minister. They're just wrapping up the march past, getting back into position. The parade commander would give the command advancing with the order, and the parade would advance, taking 14 paces forward, and they halt left, right. So they will be closer. So
I think we've already had one casualty there. Let's hope
and
okay.
That's the drum major.
The drum major?
Yes, that's the drum major from the Cadet Force band.
Oh my. Let's hope he's okay.
So let's hope that he's okay.
But
you can see the Red Cross rendering assistance to him.
And his colleagues are also at his side as well, rendering assistance. And it's always good to see whenever this happens that the colleagues are there to lend some assistance.
A quick response to assist.
As we continue with our live coverage of the 2023 Independence Parade with a very heavy downpour at this time, which has been going for the last few minutes. For those who are listening, we welcome you wherever you are around the world. And for those who are viewing, we don't need to let you know how much the rain is really coming down here. We can barely see the children gathered under this. I believe that's over at the CDC stand.
Yes.
We can barely see it as the camera zooms in. You can barely see them as the rain is really coming down here at the Victoria Park. And just the look of the SSU outfits, you can tell that they're not just damp, but very wet.
Yeah, they're wet.
Eyes! Feet!
Yeah, so the guards, they form in the two ranks. Preparation to advance in the order.
Number one!
So the number 1 and the number 7 guards called
The parade will advance every view order! By the center! Quick march!
So they're advancing now.
Advancing. Oh, very precisely.
Number 1 and number 7 guys!
Very precisely. And clearly they were very well prepared for this particular portion, and having to contend with the rain is just one little challenge in that, but that would be the way that we ended from our visuals here, and the precision in which the precise manner rather in which they handled that particular part.
Yes, the advanced review order. Yes. So that's what the rehearsals were all about. To ensure that there's precision whenever they conduct the drill.
Our nurses and nursing assistants are on parade this morning as part of the unarmed guards. I believe this is
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, part of the 9 unarmed guards on parade this morning.
And reminded that there are 7 armed guards and 9 unarmed guards on parade. As we see the students from the various schools who are part of the Girl Guides, they're sheltered. I believe they'll be doing the uptown parade, the final part of the procession from the Victoria Park uptown. And we continue to see a very heavy downpour. This is well beyond blessings now, SOP. I think the blessings phase has passed.
Yes.
and it's more so of contending with very wet uniforms and in the case of the band, some waterlogged instruments. I'm not sure the trumpets will be too keen on water getting into that instrument and playing that.
That is true, yes. So they have to take the necessary precaution to safeguard the instruments.
And a merged band, that's a correct term, a merged band this morning of the police force and the cadets. And as they usually do, we usually hear them in the distance doing their rehearsals, at least the cadet band from where we are at NBC on a Saturday morning. You would hear the rehearsals happening in the distance. We know for sure that they were quite ready for today's event. For the uptown parade, they'll be separating, Major. I'll call you Major.
well, actually,
SOP.
Right, Major is a
Your Excellency.
superintendent.
Wonderful. Thanks for sharing that.
Yes,
The Governor General.
In the military, it is Major.
And in the cadets, it's the same.
Same thing, the cadets.
His Lordship,
For the forces superintendent.
the Judge, and Mrs. Cottle. The Honorable Speaker of the House of Assembly, Honorable Members of Cabinet and of Parliament, members of the clergy, the senior ranks of the police force, including the Commissioner of Police, and all members of the Royal Saint Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force. Your Excellencies, the members of the Diplomatic Corps, senior public servants, our diaspora, our brothers and sisters overseas who are listening to us or viewing us, those who are here, so many who are here braved the inclemency of the weather this morning to come here at Victoria Park, especially the children, a very special greeting and welcome to you. The members of the parade ground, led by Superintendent Benzel Samuel, the tremendous work this morning by Inspector Vaughan Miller and the police band. Thank you very much. Please permit me to say how pleased I was to hear the performance of Police Officer 1077 Rodney with her rendition of Zest, No Stress. And for all those who are viewing us and listening to us on all the various platforms, good morning and happy 44th anniversary of independence. Fellow Vincentians, 44 years ago, on October the 27th, 1979, our country formally reclaimed its political independence from Britain. After 216 years of colonial overrule. In the process, we reaffirmed our status juridically as a sovereign nation, and we commenced our independent quest of a better life in faith, hope, and love. Our founding fathers and mothers were possessed of the knowledge, understanding, and wisdom to embrace faith as the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. In their hopefulness, they had a confident expectation and a longing for uplifting outcomes from the independent journey ahead, and their love of country and of their neighbors was etched in their hearts and minds as an ever-fixed mark that looks on tempest and is never shaken. On Independence Day, 1979, thousands of persons were still sheltered in temporary, often makeshift accommodations in the aftermath of the terrible volcanic eruptions in April of that year. To be sure, we were anxious, strained, and even distressed. But we were never in the despond of hopelessness. We had faith and an abundant love. And we have survived and thrived with God's grace. Our resilience, our capacity for hard and smart work, our collective discipline, and our determination to prosper in peace, democracy, justice, and security have been a tribute to ourselves and a marvel to our friends overseas. The same qualities were and have been in evidence during the harsh travails and painful consequences of the more recent COVID pandemic, the volcanic disaster of 2021, Hurricane Elsa, the multiple storms crisscrossed by periodic droughts, and the knock-on effects of the wars in the Ukraine, Palestine, and elsewhere. This too has been a time of despair, of fresh hope, of recovery and reconstruction. Sadly, in the midst of our reconstruction, there have been a tiny minority of persons who have chosen the rocky road of criminal violence and persistent vagabondry. They cannot and must not be allowed to disturb or threaten our haven, calm, serene. I reiterate that this domestic challenge of violent crime demands the attention of the entire responsible society. The parents, the family, the church, the schools, the civil society, political parties, the spaces of sports and culture, the media, the business sector, and the state institutions, especially the parliament, the cabinet, the police force, the law courts, and the prisons. It is necessary and desirable, too, for us to ramp up further an efficacious cooperation with our regional and international partners in tackling violent crime. And let us all resist the temptation, as we heard in the prayer this morning, so beautifully delivered, so movingly sculpted. Let us all resist the temptation of plunging this national issue into the gutter of senseless, partisan political bickering. Only the criminals benefit from such unnecessary quarrels and unbecoming point scoring. In fighting violence, we need unmistakably a sustained social solidarity of everyone, buttressed by the tried and tested values which have so marked and uplifted our civilization. Each of us, as individual citizens, is possessed of a bundle of rights and obligations. This precious rootedness of citizenship, the highest office in our nation, binds us together with civic ties that cannot be broken. It is therefore right and proper for us to insist that the high office of citizen must never be sold as if it were a mere commodity, and our passport, the outward sign of the inward grace of citizenship, ought never to be allowed to be treated as a transactional commodity for sale. Such sales are wrong in principle, odious in practice, unsustainable and fragile as economic policy. The people of Saint Vincent and the Grenadines can rely on my government and on me personally to protect our citizenship and our passport. Never must we sully it. The rootedness of an umbilical cord, a bond with our homeland, may be difficult for some to define, appreciate, and value. But it is an existential core to our human souls and our spirit. Let us today, on our 44th anniversary of independence, assert unequivocally a bundle of central home truths. What are some of these? That Saint Vincent and the Grenadines is an oasis of political stability in a world of debilitating discord, conflict, and war. That Saint Vincent and the Grenadines has made and is making substantial and even remarkable socioeconomic progress, despite homegrown dissonances and challenges and external burdens and impositions. That Saint Vincent and the Grenadines is on the right track in enhancing markedly its strengths and possibilities in the interests of our people, despite the handicap of certain weaknesses and limitations. That the people of Saint Vincent and the Grenadines are better off today than in October 1979. That the people of Saint Vincent and the Grenadines are better off today than in 2001. And that the people of Saint Vincent and the Grenadines, especially the young, have a bright and promising future. The recovery and reconstruction in our country have been truly impressive in the aftermath of the health pandemic, the natural disasters, and the ongoing global turmoil. Still, there is much more restoration and building to be done. The actual data, the socioeconomic statistics, the indicators, and our overall developmental thrust point overwhelmingly to our country being on the right track. Last year, we experienced economic growth in excess of 6%. Over 4% is 5% is estimated for this year, and almost 5% projected for next year. Job creation is expanding in many economic sectors. There is a construction boom currently going on, which is stretching the limits of our country's capacity. The education, health, and housing revolutions are broadening and deepening apace. The social safety nets for the vulnerable, the poor, and the marginalized are being strengthened as never before. Inflation has declined markedly from last year to this year and is projected to decline further to a modest 2.4% next year. Wages and salaries have risen and are rising further, generally, and for particular skill sets. The physical infrastructure in our country is being boosted. Sports and culture are on a further rise. The process of regional integration is being consolidated and expanded. And our nation's foreign policy is bringing benefits and high esteem to our people at home and abroad. And there's still for us to speak about. But as we know, there is yet more still that remains to be done. Fellow Vincentians, you know that the government has shown that it has a comprehensive plan for our country's further development and is at work implementing it. There are 4 planks which we emphasize. Nothing is possible without people. Nothing is doable without high-quality strategic leadership. Nothing is achievable without the mobilization of the requisite resources. And nothing is sustainable without specially crafted institutions. Let these eight words ring in our ears. People, leadership, resources, institutions. Possible, doable, achievable, sustainable. Last year, September, I outlined this all in my book entitled A Time of Despair, Fresh Hope for Saint Vincent and the Grenadines. In shaping and pursuing our developmental agenda in the people's interest, it is necessary and desirable for us to form efficacious partnerships with our friends and allies overseas, many of whose representatives are present here. We thank them for all their assistance and cooperation with us. Our government has strengthened significantly our practical and principled friendships with our traditional allies, and at the same time broadening our alliances and friendships across the globe. We are friends of all, and we strive for a better world. Let it be clear, we will not abandon our tried and tested friends. We will not pursue mirages. We will not succumb to imperial dictates. Neither will we embrace any would-be hegemon of tomorrow. And we will never allow those who hanker for our citizenship and passport and their co-conspirators to undermine our democracy and treasured institutions. And we will always put our country above our party. In the year ahead, my dear fellow Vincentians, as we go forward to our 45th anniversary of the reclamation of our nation's independence, there are a dozen or so highlights of developmental salience which I'd like to emphasize. The construction of the 132 acute referral hospital at Annisville, which will shortly commence, costing $270 million. Within a few months, the construction will start up on the 250-room Marriott Hotel at Mount Wynn. In March next year, the Sandals Resorts International at Buckerment with 301 rooms, suites, and cabanas, costing $550 million. That will be opened in March next year. The 92-room Holiday Inn at Diamond will open for business in the first quarter of next year. By Independence Day next year, the $650 million modern container port, which is before us, in Kingston, will be less than 1 year away from completion. During the next year, construction will commence on the cultural, artistic, educational, and production hub at Bellevue and the satellite hubs at Peterborough and Trumuka, costing in the aggregate $27 million. And then there is the $45 million sea defense project at Sandy Bay, designed to protect from the ravages of the Atlantic Ocean and climate change this iconic village of our ancestral Kalinago and Garifuna. That will be in the midst of construction. So too will we be starting up the project to construct the 10 million modern secondary school at the site of the former Great House of the Plantation at Orange Hill. And then the housing, health, and education revolutions over the next year will be further deepened and broadened. Specifically, we anticipate even more houses will be built and or repaired for the poor and those distressed by climate change disasters. At the same time, the safety nets for the poor, the vulnerable, and the marginalized will be strengthened and broadened. And we will move ever more closely to our target of 1 college or university graduate per household by the year 2030. Huge advances will be made over the next year in the delivery of telecommunications, the green and digital transitions, and the blue economy. In the first quarter of next year, Saint Vincent and the Grenadines, as the pro tempore president of CELAC, the Community of States of Latin America and the Caribbean, will host a summit here. CELAC, as you know, is the premier integration mechanism in our hemisphere, consisting of 33 member states. And in June next year, Saint Vincent and the Grenadines will host a segment of the T20 World Cup cricket competition, 2 group games and 2 Super 8 matches at the Annisvale Cricket Stadium, which is being refurbished at a cost of $35 million. Meanwhile, dozens of other capital projects and policy initiatives will continue to be implemented or rolled out afresh. The initiatives of the newly created Prime Ministerial Youth Advisory Council and the enlarged Reparations Commission will occupy prominent positions center stage. Big things are going on in Saint Vincent and the Grenadines. Fellow Vincentians, I want you to listen to me particularly carefully as I make 16 specific announcements of real immediacy. First, as of January 2024, the salary threshold below which no personal income tax is charged will be increased from the current $22,000 annually to $25,000. Workers will pay less taxes as from January next year. This move will cost the Treasury nearly $5 million annually. Second, the on-site program under which the government places employees at its own expense in the private sector for fixed time periods will be extended with a fresh batch of employees into the years 2024 and 2025, subject, of course, to the usual annual reviews of any program's efficacy. Third, as of January 2024, there will be an increase in minimum wages paid to workers, consequent upon the full review of the report from the Wages Council, which is currently in progress. And fourth, I want the nurses, all the nurses, the nursing assistants and the nursing aides to hear me and hear me well. As of January next year, the nurses, the nursing assistants and the nursing aides will be paid in addition to a regular salary increase which is already on the cards. They will be paid an additional monthly supplementary non-taxable income for an additional 6-month period, amounting to 5% of their salary to ease certain specific challenges which they currently face. We will conduct a review in this period, in the first half of next year, with the aim to upgrade and reclassify these positions in the nursing profession. It is my intention, it is the government intention, to big up the nurses in Saint Vincent and the Grenadines. Fifth, the relief which was granted over a year ago to domestic consumers of electricity to pay no VAT on their bills for any consumption below 250 units per month will continue. Sixth, at this moment in this month, this anniversary month, 44 additional prime grants to micro-entrepreneurs are being issued. This will cost around $350,000. This brings the number of prime grants to over 1,300 at a value of in excess of $6.5 million. This program will continue in 2024 and in 2025. Seventh, earlier this week, on Tuesday the 24th of October, 66 national scholarships, national exhibitions, special awards, and bursaries for university education were issued on the basis of results of the CAPE and Associate Degree examinations for the students at the community college. This package of award is valued at over $20 million. This year, a record number of 5-year fully funded scholarships, 26 in all, were awarded. Each of these scholarships carries a maximum price tag of up to $600,000. The government is committed to young people and the education revolution. I want all the young people to know that more and more scholarships and other financial supports are available for our students going to college or the university. Let us big up our young people, so bright, overwhelmingly so focused, so committed. Eighth, I want the farmers to hear me. As of today, 1,185 farmers who owe the state-owned Farmers Support Company in the aggregate of $4.5 million will receive a 50% waiver on the principal sums owed and a full waiver on all interest. The vendors in the city, I want you to hear me. I have asked for a full and complete review of all the debts owed to the Kingstown Board by vendors, with the intention to provide relief and waivers. After this review, we will provide the details of the relief and waivers early next year in the 2024 budget. Similarly, there will be a full and complete review of all the debts owed by patients and their families to the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital and all other hospitals in Saint Vincent and the Grenadines up to Independence Day last year. The intention is to provide relief and waivers. The relevant details would also be announced in the budget. The 11th announcement of immediacy. The government intends, as of January the 1st next year, to reduce further the extent of the interest rate and provide additional relief to students who borrowed monies from the state-owned student loan company to finance their university education. More details will be available in the 2024 budget. As of January the 1st next year, in order to make sure that people, for a road safety measure, I want to encourage you, rather than having a lot of defective second-hand tires, we will provide relief on the duty for new tires for all motor vehicles. The Minister of Finance will provide the details in next year's budget. Further, the existing time-bound duty-free concession on cement will be extended for another year up to the end of 2024. This will continue to ensure that cement in Saint Vincent and the Grenadines is the most affordable in the OECS. And then my 14th announcement has several elements under a program dubbed Independence from Fear. Several initiatives in fighting violent crimes have been proposed. A gun amnesty immediately following the passage of legislation next month to increase penalties for possession of unlicensed firearms and ammunition. The Commissioner of Police will announce the details shortly. The idea is to get you to bring in your illegal firearm. You'll have a chance. But after this chance, we are increasing the penalties and we will intensify prosecution. Let's work together on this. As part of the measures, we are placing the anti-crime measures, we are placing additional CCTV cameras across our country and the usage of body cameras for the police. And we are implementing a program of further ramping up the placement of street lights. The Commissioner of Police has presented a strategic plan to me, and within that framework, there are particular pieces of crime-fighting legislation which we will bring to Parliament. And we are going to carry out a structured program to rehabilitate all the police stations. And then through the police force and the National Commission on Crime Prevention, we are going to have an expansion of the outreach initiative between the police and the community. The 15th announcement is the one I know that you always want to hear, and for our people in North America, especially in Britain too. The annual duty-free concession on Christmas barrels, which we have put in place since 2001, will begin on November the 15th and runs to December the 31st, 2023. And the last specific announcement of immediacy concerns the appointment of one sporting ambassador and two cultural ambassadors. A sporting ambassador, a sports ambassador, the youngest one to be so appointed, Shane Cadogan, national swimmer, national scholar, who has been doing amazing work in his non-governmental organization in assisting and mentoring young persons in their athletic and educational pursuits. And the two cultural ambassadors, Lornette Fire Empress Ned, veteran Calypsonian and current Calypso monarch, and a highly talented young man who hails from Union Island, now based in Europe, and is internationally acclaimed in popular music, known to the world of entertainment as Wetty Beats, Philip Dunbar Bastian. I am quite sure that they will perform with the high quality and excellence as other sporting and cultural ambassadors have done. My dear fellow Vincentians, through God's grace and the rigors of competitive democratic elections, you have accorded me the honor and privilege to be your Prime Minister for the past 22 years and 7 months thus far. I have been your Prime Minister for more than one-half of the time since our nation's independence, our nation's reclamation of independence in 1979. We have together established very strong bonds of love and friendship. I thank you yet again for the continued confidence you have placed in me and the successive administrations that I have led. I pledge yet again on this our 44th anniversary that I shall continue to serve you responsibly and with responsiveness in accordance with the laws and best practices of good governance to the best of my ability. It is true that I have grown older. All of us have grown older. But I assure you, I am not yet weary. In the continuing challenging months and years ahead, we will continue to work in the best interests of Saint Vincent and the Grenadines and all our people, in solidarity with each other, in pursuance of enhanced peace, justice, security, and sustained prosperity for all. In the book of Micah, the prophet posed and answered the question, what does the Lord require of us? To do justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with our God. Let this injunction be a noise in our blood, an echo in our bones. Happy 44th anniversary of the reclamation of independence, Saint Vincent and the Grenadines. Thank you, and may Almighty God continue to bless us all.
Why? The address address by Prime Minister
Attention!
Egan Sars, the highly anticipated
Guards!
at the
Shoulder!
Independence Parade 2023, as we see some dark clouds in the distance, but the sunshine returned just as the Prime Minister was in the earlier part of his presentation, and some important announcements, and we invite you to continue viewing and listening to the platforms. We'll of course repeat the Prime Minister's presentation on radio during the course of the day today, this afternoon and this evening, so that you can catch those announcements in case you missed them. But spreading across the various sectors, something for the farmers, for those who are involved in the nursing profession, some, as we say, goodies. Folks tend to look forward to the goodies announced at Independence. And I believe at this time the band is about to do a rendition, so let's wait for that.
Yes. We actually have a final salute.
Guards! Shoulder!
And
Order!
Commander there, loud and clear. I suspect those who are listening and viewing would hear through their devices, as the Superintendent of Police, Mr. Benzel Samuel, will soon hand the parade over to the Adjutant, who will take things uptown for the latter part of the program. But we're mentioning the presentation by the Honourable Prime Minister and the 16 pointed goodies, as we like to refer them over the years, that are in store for various sectors, and the announcement of 3 ambassadors, cultural ambassador, 2 cultural ambassadors and 1 sporting ambassador. And that's in the form of Shane Cadogan, national swimmer and scholar, and entertainers Lornette Ned, Fire Empress, and someone who we commonly know as Wetty Beats. We didn't quite get his given name, but Wetty Beats out of Union Island, recognized for their contribution to the entertainment sector, and cultural ambassadors representing Saint Vincent and the Grenadines.
Yes, Colton and ASP Andrew Thomas, as per usual, the Prime Minister is accustomed to deliver very wide-ranging speeches, not only at Independence but throughout. And this morning, it was no different. He touched on almost every segment that is that is of importance to the Vincentian society, and no doubt many persons would feel happy and pleased with some of the announcements that he made this morning.
Yes, and as preparations are being made for the latter part of the proceeding, the uptown salute to be taken by the Prime Minister just in front of the financial complex. We just had the final salute a few moments ago, and Her Excellency is in the process of departing. I see members of the diplomatic corps also present here this morning, the ambassadors for our friendly countries across the region and around the world present for this occasion this morning, and I'm sure they'll take some time to enjoy the other activities today and in a more private capacity that are happening, the expo and all of these things that are happening across the country, and the Madongo Festival that's slated for later on today. That's another anticipated item on the calendar of events. It's Independence Day, and different folks would celebrate their Independence Day differently, and activities across the country. We anticipate some more rain today, so hopefully that wouldn't put a damper on some of those activities. But we hope for the best for all planned today. Andrews, Thomas? I think I forgot the Thomas part of your name. My apologies earlier on.
That's okay.
ASP Andrews Thomas, your thoughts on what you saw during the parade today?
Okay. The parade went exceedingly well, I believe, even though there were issues with the weather. I think the persons on the parade held up well. The band performed well. I must give kudos to Inspector Von Miller for their performance. They did very well. the Prime Minister's speech was accepted by the Vincentian public as usual. So I think that was well done also. I think the parade commander, Superintendent Samuel, has handed over the command to
the adjutant.
ASP Francois, who is the adjutant for today, as they prepare to go uptown for the salute.
And after that, Simmons, I believe that's the toast to the nation, which will happen immediately following the uptown.
Correct. So the parade right now is being prepared for the uptown salute, and that salute will be taken just outside of the financial complex. The Honorable Prime Minister would take that salute. So the adjutant, ASP Francois, would lead the parade from Victoria Park up Kingston, and after the parade is dismissed, then we'd all journey to the official residence of the Prime Minister, where there will be a toast to the nation. And at that event, there will be about 3 speeches. The first one would be the Commissioner of Police. He would deliver the welcome remarks, followed by a toast to Saint Vincent Grenadines and remarks by the Honorable Prime Minister. And the final remarks would be delivered by Her Excellency, the Governor General. She would also read a toast to His Majesty King Charles III.
And we encourage those who are viewing and listening to keep in tune to the platforms, as we will, of course, bring updates on the other events as part of this Independence Day 2023, or 44th, next year being our 45th. So we're on the road to 45.
Yes.
Yes.
And this year. Yes, go ahead.
So I was saying, as our theme says, our resilience, our fortitude, our identity on the road to 45.
And today is full of different activities. This is just one of them. And as you mentioned earlier, there's the Madongo Festival later on in the western side of the island. There's also the Everything Vinci Plus Expo. That has really grown leaps and bounds. We're now having our original counterparts showcasing with us as well. And the new location is ideal. It's Joshua Tarmac. That's an ideal location for it. So no doubt, later on in the day, many Vincentians and visitors alike, they will be going to these different events and just taking in and enjoying themselves.
And maybe heading to the Chateau National Park for some Malongo.
Yes. Correct.
Always a good delicacy for those who enjoy that, accompanied by some fried fish, maybe.
Yes.
Something
that's
yes, indeed. And today is the day to consume all of that and more things that
Yes.
Our national dish.
Yes. So as we see the troops awaiting their command for the next portion of the parade, which is uptown, the sun is still out. It's not as brilliant, at least from our vantage point, as it was a few minutes ago while the Prime Minister was delivering his address. It was scorching on the outside. We literally stepped outside of the studio for a few minutes and we felt the sun on our faces.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's intense out there, and we know that all those on parade got a good soaking earlier on. So somebody mentioned they were in the wash and they're in the dryer now, as the natural process of drying continues. And as they march uptown, they're going to be back to where they started, arriving here quite dry this morning.
So
And we have some of our
we are seeing the police recruits right now.
Yes. So the adjutant has taken command from what we are aware, ASP Francois. Yes. And the bandmaster would no doubt be readying himself as well to take his group as they disband and form into the cadet force band and the police force band for the uptown. Generally, there's one band at the front of the parade, and there's another midpoint.
The police force band would lead, and the cadet force band would take up the rear. to ensure that the rhythm is maintained.
Right. Are they playing
when
different
the troops
tracks, or
march.
is it that they're playing same track along the way?
Different tracks,
Yes.
different tracks, because the both bands will not be able to hear what the other one is playing. So they will play different tracks.
Because there's a distance
Yeah.
Between,
so,
yes.
Yes.
And the fact that we have 7 armed, 9 unarmed
right,
guys,
so
on
that's
stage,
16.
plus the Brownies and all of the other groups who
Correct,
join in
yes,
for the Uptown, because they were there quite dry,
Yeah.
they were sheltered. So they'll be joining their counterparts
Yeah.
shortly
Right.
to do the Uptown. And the Vincentians, the scores of Vincentians would line the streets to see the Uptown parade and to take their
Yes,
photos.
definitely.
I've never had the privilege of witnessing that. I'm usually on the broadcast, so I tend to have to see that after. But I understand it's quite a spectacle to see up close and
Yeah.
personal what's happening with the parade.
Well, Caldwell, I will also admit that I've never witnessed it myself either, because I usually from Victoria Park I would head straight to the premises residence to prepare for the toast to the nation.
Right.
So I've never gone
And seen
to
that in
to see
person.
the Uptown salute. I was hoping that we would have seen it this year, but we're here.
Well, I'm glad that you're here this morning, because we really needed your expertise in parade, and you are quite familiar with the protocols and the practices as it
Correct.
pertains to parade,
Yes.
having been on the parade ground on several occasions. I suspect some very warm days and some otherwise cool ones, but we know that it's always a challenge whenever you have the various challenges, and I'm repeating myself there, in terms of the weather being a factor,
Yeah.
and then those who are having medical challenges and they're not able to withstand
Yes,
the
that is
sun
true.
and the intense heat
Yes,
that we tend to
indeed.
get on some occasions.
And we saw some of that this morning, and we are hoping that those who fell ill, that they have recovered well. Our thoughts and prayers are with them. But the parade is now leaving Victoria Park to take part in the Uptown parade, as you would say. It's been led by the adjutant, ASP Agent Francois, and they would march along Grenadines Street, up to Halifax Street. They would make a right turn up at Road. Yes, they would make a right turn there about South River Road and continue on to Bay Street, march along Bay Street, and then there will be the Uptown salute just in front of the National Complex.
I have experienced the Uptown salute because I took part in many of the Independence Parade before. And because of the journey through the armed guards, because I'm a member of the armed guards, and we would have to actually execute certain drills because the weapon is in one hand and you have to be able to carry the weapon. So the guard commander will give certain drills to be executed so that you can be able to carry the weapon all the way to the central police station, because that's where the guards fall out at the end of the parade.
Right.
So you would see, as we go through, you will see the guard commanders giving different commands to be executed throughout the parade.
And as
Right,
someone who's
so-
been on numerous parades, the weight of that weapon and being an armed guard, how does that affect you being able to withstand the other elements and the other things that would pop up along the way during parade?
Because of the length of time, that's why they give us those drills, because it gets very heavy. I always say it's not the weight, it's the length of time that you have to carry that weapon. So as you get those drills, it actually takes the weight from one arm to the other.
Yes.
You'll be able to execute the drills properly.
Correct. And just to add to what Superintendent SP Andrew Thomas just said, some of the commands that the parade command would give is like change arms. So the officer would remove the weapon from their their left arm to their right arm and continue marching. You'd also hear slope arms. Slope arms you carry like this, hanging.
Yeah, all the arms.
And all the arms and also recover arms as well.
Recover arms, yes.
So those are the commands you will tend to hear along the way, and
Yes.
that's for our listeners and viewers to understand what they mean,
Correct.
because that's important. But as we are speaking to you, we can hear on the outside of the studios of VC3 the lead portion of the parade, and we have the visuals now just outside of the Victoria Park perimeter fence.
Yep.
You can see the police
Yes.
band.
Past the Rubis gas station.
Yes. And they're moving in quick time,
Indeed.
quite quickly
Indeed.
along uptown.
Indeed.
And bringing up the rear, at least for this portion, we have the Marine unit of the Cadet Force. The front of the parade is just about turning the corner,
At
Finish
OT
and
May.
yes, across the
Yes.
finishing and furnishing area, just
Right.
approaching that entrance. And the midsection now exiting the Victoria Park and down towards the Milton Keaton Memorial Hospital entrance. As we see the Marine Guards approaching our camera point, and we'll see some visuals along the way as much as we can bring you. We'll ensure that you can see,
So
such as here, changing. There you go.
They're
There you
changing
go.
arms there.
Changing arms.
Yes.
And that's that's a good observation, because it can get a bit heavy, especially for the younger ones who
All right.
would not have the the strength to remain with the weapons in their right arms for a very extended period of change
Yes.
at some point, and we were able to witness that.
That is true.
We've lost some of the sunlight, but we're still able to see quite clearly that the uniformity of the guards, and from the air it's even more, the view and the optics of having.
Yes, it is even more beautiful from
Yes,
from the air.
it is.
From the air. The aerial view is a spectacle.
Yes. As we see the cadet band preparing to leave the park, I think we have a new drum major stepping in
Yes.
to take the rest of the parade. I'm not sure, we did not have a name, but I'm sure it's a female, however, taking up the responsibility of the drum major for the cadet force, and we do hope that the drum major is okay, as he fell ill during the course of the parade.
And the troops normally would enjoy this part of the parade, the uptown parade, because
They're moving.
they're moving, and there would be crowds on either side of the streets, looking at them.
And we're seeing that now.
Yes, and they would feel happy that knowing that they're doing a national service and they're being cheered on by all locals.
And this looks like guard number 2, number 3 in order, approaching just in front of the St. George's Cathedral. And I know when you're looking at the drone shot, you have to try to get your sense of direction. But we're looking at shots of just in front of the St. George's Cathedral in Kingstown, and that looks to be the SSU.
So unit. Oh,
This is guard number 3.
They look so beautiful.
Look at that, and the shadows are adding. Oh, this is an excellent shot.
Yes, that's a great feat.
And because of the angle of the sunlight, you can see the shadows as if the shadows are marching as well.
And the uniformity.
And the uniformity, yes. And I think this is where they really show that they have been preparing quite a lot for this. And as you see in the distance, that no one is falling out of line. They're all in perfect alignment.
All precision.
Let's see, the youngsters are now
brownies.
joining in, the brownies. And they'll be taking a bit of the heat on the way uptown. And we see a very large group. I think we have quite a lot of brownies.
Yes.
Do they have their own band as well? They have their own band as well. I didn't see that one before. So the brownies are marching to their own band today. And
that's a large group of brownies.
Oh yes, they definitely need their own band.
Came out in the large numbers today.
And we have the Girl Guides
Girl Guides, yes.
that are following close behind. I believe this is the rear of the parade that we are seeing, exiting the Victoria Park.
Yes.
And to tell you how many we have on parade. The other part of the parade is already way uptown.
Yeah,
I believe approaching the
by now they would have passed
old Parliament
subway.
building thereabout. Oh, there we go. There's a shot. I see that the band is just in front of the Kingstown Methodist Church. Yes. And passing by the Inland Revenue Department and approaching very quickly. And I see some of the spectators trying to keep up in moving along with, they might have an acquaintance or friend or family member who's participating in the parade, and they're trying to get a few mobile shots of them on parade as well. I know that what that is like. As we get a ground shot now, you can clearly see the band moving just in front of the Inland Revenue Department, and the usual, you can see that they're enjoying themselves.
Yes, yeah. They really enjoy this part of it.
Yes.
Because, they're on the move.
They're on the move.
Yeah.
But is it any more difficult to play these instruments while you're walking, or while you're marching rather, in quick time than, if you're just...
I think because they're trained to do that. They're trained that way, so they can play, at a standstill, on the move, just safe.
This officer, they're enjoying his drums as he as he heads uptown, and this is one of the moments where they get a bit of a relief after standing and barely moving around a very confined area of Victoria Park, and they have the entire street to themselves today.
Indeed.
As we see the band now approaching the area, as you mentioned, just across the gas station up to Subway. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
They done made some nice displays there.
There you go. Oh, look at that. All courtesy of folks at VC3 and API who have their cameras pointed on the streets, and we're grateful that we can actually see what's happening on the streets and from up above as well. And yes, there we go. Bird's eye view of what's happening. I see the front of the parade is already approaching the Old Parliament location, and pretty soon the rear end of the midpoint of the parade will catch up with the other troops. I see that there's a bit of a space there, and maybe the armed guys in the front are, resilient, and they're so accustomed to this, they're moving at a pace, and the youth club and nurses and the other uniformed organizations who are not necessarily part of the active service. Parade is when they really get a good march around Kingstown. So they're playing catch up at this point from our vantage point, but we can see that there's a quick movement uptown. I suspect there will be the concern of another downpour at any point, but they're enjoying themselves.
Yes, yeah, indeed.
See now a shot there of the SSU, yes?
Yes, that's a special service unit.
This is GAD number 3. So our cameras just about the area of GAD 2, GAD 3, and the police band, and alternating between those locations. See there's a female guard just in front as well. Right, there you go, the front of the parade, now moving past the former location of the Parliament of Saint Vincent and the Grenadines, now operating out of its temporary location in Caliacqua, or Glen, depending on, it's a bit of a, it's Glen Caliacqua. Police recruits, yes, thank you for identifying them, as they too would have the privilege, the honor of being on the parade ground at some point, maybe next year, all being well with their training. And it's always good to see the youthful faces and the passion in their eyes to want to serve.
Alright, so that's the number two guard, the
number 2,
female
yes.
guard.
All female. And the front of the parade now approaching, I believe just passing the Whitechapel area, just in front of the region of what do you call it, Public Works, approaching that area.
Yes.
And the Central Market you can see just on the right hand of our shot there from above. But it's Independence Day 2023. It is our 44th. We are one celebration away from the 45th.
45th.
And we look forward to the 45th and what will be on the cards for that big celebration. And the officers are smiling. They're all smiling because I think they're looking at their guard commander enjoying himself in the front there as well.
Yes. Looking forward to the 45th. There was a discussion that started with regards to the timing for hosting the parade.
Yes.
And it is my belief that next year, God willing, the parade might be in the evening, into the night. It's possible, I believe, because of the significance. Milestone, 45 years.
So they're a tad bit different in the approach next year.
Yeah, because it was, I don't think we had enough time to really transition for this year because of the activities that were already in place. But certainly, we can plan, make plans early for next year, so that if it is necessary, then we can have the parade in the evening.
And we're looking at some visuals now for the SVG Coast Guard Service as they move past our camera just outside of the Public Works Department, the Ministry of Transport and Works location. It's currently being renovated, and they're moving swiftly uptown. Their next stop will be just in front of the financial complex for the final salute.
The uptown salute.
The uptown salute, rather.
Salute, yes.
Final salute was completed already.
Yes.
Just so that we have that clear. And the uptown salute, as part of our tradition, it's been that way as far as I remember with parades. It's always been part of the fixture of our parade.
And that would be taken by the Honourable Prime Minister.
Yes. And from there he will depart for the official residence for the toast to the nation. I believe there's a bit of a sprinkle, maybe. Maybe it's just the cameras. But the parade has come to a halt for the moment.
Yes,
They're marking time.
Yeah, marking time. Marking time.
I believe they are just waiting on the rear end of the parade to catch up.
On the others, yes, yeah.
And I suspect some of those who are communicating on the ground are also looking at our visuals and might be seeing that there's a big space. Oh, there you go, there's a rain. I really hope that we don't, yes, we'll have to get that drone out of the rain. There's a bit of a shower on the outside at this time, so I know we'll lose our eye in the sky for now. Of course, we have to ensure that the equipment utilized is safeguarded in the process of bringing in this coverage. And I suspect we may have to leave you soon if this rain continues, as our camera guys are also exposed on the roads to the elements, and some very costly equipment on the road as well and in the air. But I think we are coming up to the right end of the parade in any case. You can see in the distance the hills just behind white, which means that the rain is really coming down on the outside.
Yeah, it's coming down now. Yeah, there are onlookers on the side of the streets.
And
the parade.
Fortunately, they're able to take shelter, but those who are on parade are not that fortunate. They have to take up a bit of the moisture and go through the cycle again of through the machine and then drying.
That's the SVG prisons.
SVG prisons, His Majesty's prisons. And these are the nurses and nursing assistants. And there are some goodies for them as well, from what the Prime Minister mentioned in his address this morning. And
that's the Scouts?
Scouts, yes. Just outside of the old Inland Revenue location. And they're no longer located at that point, but further downtown. And I think the showers are intensifying. I see the raindrops getting a bit bigger on our screens, which means that they'll have more to contend with as they get to the uptown salute.
And you can see the Rangers passing by, followed by the Royal Guides. And the girl guys, they have a very large contingent.
They do.
In Pearl this morning.
Brownies in particular, quite notable, very, very large. And I do hope that they are okay in the back because they're the ones who may not do too well with the very heavy downpours that we're having at this time. I think the cadets and the other guys, they're quite used to this because they've been on, they're there every year.
Every year.
And the rain that we're having, Simon, what does this mean sometimes for the uniform people? There's always a concern that probably get those properly dried when they finish and have them dry cleaned, etc.
Yes, naturally the uniform will become heavy. Once it gets wet, it becomes heavy on you. And you'll have to try and get it clean as soon as possible thereafter because it can get soiled and so forth.
And have mold and all of these other issues.
Yes. So
that's one additional task for them to clean up after.
yes.
It is, and you literally see the raindrops on our screens, and that's you can see it hitting the road, and clearly they're contending with a lot. Even the uniforms, you see the Bishop's College Kingstown, the students there who are part of the Red Cross.
Oh.
Yes. They actually have their armbands of the SVG Red Cross. Different schools, I see Bethel High School there represented as well, and Bishop's College Kingstown. I didn't recognize the other uniform.
There's a mixture of different schools.
Yes.
Making up the Red Cross.
And they're marking time in the pouring rain. And looking in the distance, Simmons and Andrews Thomas, you can see a complete whiteout on the hill just above Dorsetshire Hill.
Yes.
I'm not sure if we'll be able to go back to our feeds on the road because we'll have to take into consideration our equipment there as well. We know we wouldn't get the visuals from above at this point because it's not advised, it's not safe to fly into the rain. But we appreciate each and every one of you joining us on this our 44th anniversary of independence. It's been a pleasure being here this morning. We were in the studio, felt a bit like we were watching it on television ourselves, but we got a taste of what's happening on the outside during the Prime Minister's presentation, and we can tell you that at that point the heat was intense.
It was.
And I can just imagine the troops, the guards who were they on parade since after 6 this morning, falling into line. And
yes, they fell in this morning around 6:50.
6:50, so that's 10 minutes to 7.
Central Police Station.
And from there it's been steady movement.
Yes.
Wow. So the preparations have all gone into, making today a reality, and what we see today is all a part of the rehearsals and the dress rehearsals that we saw over the past weeks. And the parade is almost over. It's not quite. We know that the Uptown Salute will be taking place shortly. We may not be able to get back to that. But we use this opportunity to say a happy 44th independence to all our viewers, all our listeners, as we get ready to close our broadcast here from the studios of VC3 Television. And we are happy that you joined us as company. Last check, I think we had close to 3,000 viewing across the platforms on our at peak. And that's just on the social media pages that we are keeping an eye on. I assure you that the other media houses taking this, community radio stations and other internet platforms taking this as well. The pages of VC3 Television, the Agency for Public Information, the National Broadcasting Corporation, we're all coming together as one amalgamated entity to bring this broadcast to you. And we really recognize the work of our technical team who's been battling the elements. And as you see, it's not looking, as I say, it's not looking pretty on the outside. It's pouring rain on the outside. The outrider, as you see, is facing all of the elements at this point and preparing for the arrival of the troops at that location. If we're able to go back there, we will. But I suspect it might take a bit more time as all of the guards will have to fall into line to approach that area. Especially
the Brownies.
The Brownies.
Because they were way in the back. And, they're pretty young, so they need more time to catch up.
Yes, and it would be quite a different experience for them. Yes, there we go. We see in the police band, it appears.
The number one guard.
It's the number one guard, yes. And See a dog using the crossing as well, just before the band approaches.
That's the adjutant, ASP Francois, Adrian Francois at the front there. And the first guard, that's the
Yes.
all male.
All male,
Yes.
yes.
Guard number 1.
And they're soaked.
ASP
They're completely soaked.
Nero. That's ASP, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
ASP Nero.
ASP Nero.
And Inspector Rogers, he is the subaltern.
We're grateful
He
that
will
we
be at the back of the guard.
Yes.
we're grateful that we're still able to see what's happening uptown despite the technical limitations with the weather, and again the resilience of our team to ensure that we can still see what's happening in our closing part of our coverage this morning. I'm picking up a different pattern in this march to the uptown salute.
Yes.
A bit more
There's
of a casual.
There's a
sort of-
tempo, there's a certain tempo that they're marching to. Maybe it's the music
Maybe it's
that's
the
being played.
I'm not sure if our viewers and listeners can hear that. We're not able to hear the
There's
music.
They're sort of jigging.
That's what we call it. And I think more so than ever, the first two guys were really enjoying the music, whatever that is, of the band just behind them. But we continue to emphasize that it is raining and raining heavily. It's not a drizzle, that's for sure. And we know that it's quite a task to be in uniform. And some of them are probably there worried about getting these things properly cleaned up.
So they're practically right now in front of the Islamic complex.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. You saw that.
Yeah, that's where they are right
You
now.
have to literally empty the water out of the instrument to ensure that he can continue to play with it with a certain melody. Now we have the Coast Guard just behind, and then the color party. Yes. We have the Jomari John, acting second lieutenant, and acting second lieutenant Nicolette Cyrus, both part of that color party, and controlling warrant officer 2, Mason Stevenson, who is also a part of that color party as well. The armed guards of the cadet force, and I'm not sure if you're seeing this, but as they're marching, you're seeing the splutters of the water
Yes.
as they're hitting the.
It's really pouring now.
Yes, they're hitting all of the puddles and splashing water. So, for those who are trying not to get their uniform a little, soiled, it's too late for that. It's too late for that now. And we recognize the presence as well of another officer of the, I believe it's traffic department, who's ensuring that that no one tries to drive down into that area, and protecting that area from vehicular traffic. It's always good to ensure that we maintain that level of safety for those who are on parade. I believe this is a rear end. Well, we're close to the rear end of the parade. There's still the brownies, and I believe the brownies may have been taken out of the rain. Is it practice for them to do so?
More than likely, because of the heavy downpour of the rain.
All right, so as we get ready to wrap up, we also wish to thank Superintendent of Police Junior Simmons, who has other ceremonial duties as he has to make his appearance at the Toast to the Nation. Thanks very much, ASP Andrews Thomas, for reminding me about the Toast to the Nation. So best wishes to you, SOP Simmons, and thank you very much for being here with us as we wrap things up. Final few scenes from Kingstown as we close our broadcast, and we express our thanks to all of those responsible for this morning's production. It's been quite a morning dealing with the rain and sun and a mix of both, and it's time for us to prepare to leave you and to say so long. And I'm glad that you had your baptism this morning, ASP Andrews Thomas. And maybe in the future we'll see you on more of our broadcasts, whether it be the Independence Day Parade or the Passing Out Parade, maybe, because we do the passing out parade live as well. So, as we leave you with some scenes on the streets of Kingstown, and we say so long to our audiences, we really want to say thanks to, again, Superintendent of Police Simmons, who is off to his duties at the Toast to the Nation. We wish to also express thanks to the entire production team. There's a very long list, which I don't want to forget any names, but there you go.
Oh, yes.
For those who saw that, yeah, good catch. And the production team this morning, in terms of our visuals, led by Anthony Denny of VC3, and on visuals, Beck, our usual very dependable Beck, on visuals as well, Rohan Zoro Bennett Morgan. We are grateful for you both in ensuring that we had some excellent visuals. The entire camera team, comprising of videographers from VC3 and the Agency for Public Information, making sure that we can see as much as hear what's happening on the parade ground and on the streets of Kingstown. Those were the roving cameras as well. We say thanks to you for braving the weather, getting a bit soaked. I see one of our cameras now moving down just in front of the parade, the saluting area, which would be the uptown saluting point. And we wish to thank all of those for their input as well in making this a reality. So as we end with our commentary, and we leave you with some visuals for those who are looking on television. If you do have those, we continue to share those on your television screens. We say so long to our radio audience who will leave us at this point, and happy 44th Independence to Saint Vincent and the Grenadines. ASP Andrews Thomas, your final thoughts.
Yes. Thank you very much for the invitation to be a part of this forum. It is an experience, my first experience here, and I appreciate it very much. I actually get to view from a different standpoint. Most of the time I am on the parade, but now I'm able to view it from this standpoint. And I must say kudos to Superintendent Samuel, who is the parade commander, and ASP Francois, the adjutant for the parade. They have done an excellent job. It is not easy to command the Independence Parade. It takes a lot of hard work and dedication. Also, all the persons who are on the parade today have job well done. Kudos to you guys. To those who attended the parade today, the Vincentian audience, not only at Victoria Park, but those who are listening, thank you very much for being a part of our program, and I wish Saint Vincent and the Grenadines all the best. We are a small nation, but we are resilient. It takes a lot of effort and it takes a lot of courage. And I say happy independence, 44th independence, and we look forward to the 45th independence next year. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And as we get our final scenes of what's happening as on the streets of Kingstown, we say again to you, enjoy your independence today. We know the rain might be a bit of a factor in your plans, but nevertheless, enjoy it. Stay safe. Remember to drive carefully if you're on the roads. Look out and keep listening to your various platforms just in case there are updates as it relates to the weather as well. We want that you be safe. I must express thanks to on the radio end to our announcers on duty at NBC Radio, Johnny Straker at Master Control, and now on duty Donnie Collins for taking care of the studio end of things. The management of all three entities, the National Broadcasting Corporation, the General Manager, Ms. Dion John, for her guidance, and also the head of the API Director, Sean Rose, and of the VC3 team, Mr. Anthony Denny. On behalf of the entire production team, all our platforms, we say to you again, happy independence. Enjoy everything that's happening today. If you can, take in a bit of the Madongo Festival, take in a bit of the Expo Plus concert later tonight, and for our radio audience, you'll get a taste of that tonight from 7 o'clock. Enjoy the independence, stay safe, enjoy the weekend, and let's all have a great time as we celebrate 44 years as an independent nation. From all of us here at the various entities, the National Broadcasting Corporation, VC3 Television, the Agency for Public Information, we say enjoy and stay safe. Take care.
Happy 44th Independence in Vincent and the Grenadines.
One knows what's in store for the future. True dedication can get us there. Independence is a milestone in our march to prosperity. Now Saint Vincent and the Grenadines have a real nationality. We are a nation of many races and have tried hard to integrate. The strength of so many faces shall be the prospects of our fate. So in this moment of history, tell it in every community, our nation is born. Colonialism is gone. This is a time of national freedom, so share our love with someone. The 27th dawn of October, our nation is born. One history, one ecstasy, one destiny, for all the we. Hey, 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 hey. While we take this stand as a nation, let us not forget our past. For this future we praise our heroes who fought slavery to the last. Special honors to Marcus Garvey, his sacrifice gave us all a chance. And all the men who fought in this century to bring us this day of independence. So in this moment of history, tell it in every community, our nation is born. Colonialism is gone. Now this is a time of national freedom, so share our love with someone. The 27th dawn of October, our nation is born. One history, one ecstasy, one destiny, for all are we. Though some manipulate the franchise of world adult suffrage, there's still hope of a bright tomorrow for all the underprivileged. Let love excel our wishes, our advancement needs plenty of work. Remember, back is that for the nation that opposes less action and lots of talk. In this moment of history, tell it in every community, our nation is born. Colonialism is gone. Now this is a time of national freedom, so share love with someone. The 27th dawn of October, our nation is born. One history, one ecstasy, one destiny, for all are we. My people join hand in hand now, put your differences aside. Get your hearts and soul together, we got to build this nation with pride. Work in harmony with good leaders, never elect no one here to rule. Then we can feel at home like good comrades, our people must not be election tools. So in this moment of history, tell it in every community, our nation is born. Colonialism is gone. Now this is a time of national freedom, so share our love with someone. The 27th dawn of October, our nation is born. One history, one ecstasy, one destiny, for all are we.
Saint Vincent and the Grenadines. Grenadines. Mark your calendars. It's the Everything Vincy Expo Plus 2023, happening at the E.T. Joshua Tarmac, October 26th to 29th. 4 amazing days await you, filled with culture, unity, and celebration. October 26th, it's the grand opening ceremony. Then on October 27th, Independence Day, it's our grand cultural extravaganza. But that's not all. We're thrilled to welcome a contingent from Guyana and other CARICOM exporters, showcasing their top-notch products and services. We've got thrills for all ages, so bring the whole family. Enjoy our special kids zone, filled with exciting activities and games. The Everything Vincy Expo Plus 2023. It's not just an event, it's a celebration. So come join us October 26th to 29th, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. daily. Don't miss this incredible opportunity to be a part of the Everything Vincy Expo Plus 2023.